Fine.
Yeah, we live, man.
We are officially live.
How do I mute myself?
Right, all right.
You push.
Don't worry about that. I'll mute you. Don't worry about that. Let me mute you right now.
Nah, because I need a cough button. I need a cough button, so I need to be able to mute myself. Button. Yeah, so I need to.
Hey, y'all. Jamare's the host. We're gonna do a proper introduction later when Sophie come in. But hey, tell us about what you was just talking about, man.
No, first of all, listen. I'm the host. I'm not talking.
How do I mute myself?
It's right there in the
bottom left
corner, in the top right corner.
You tap on the thing and then you hit mic.
Yeah, okay. Top right corner.
So, all right, since he the host and we ain't officially starting, but we wanted to get started because we know y'all was out here waiting or whatever. So I'm just gonna tell you what Jamare was talking about just now. So Jamare was basically out and about throughout his day or whatever, and he came home and he realized he lost his wallet. He misplaced it. He didn't know where it was. He started looking all over the place. And he was like, dang, man, I lost it. He looked in his car. And then he remembered, oh, snap, man, maybe I was at Lowe's. And then he started retracing his steps. And he was like, oh, well, maybe I left it at Lowe's when I was on the phone because I went to the hey, Jamare, Sophie said she forgot where to go to link. So he's like, man, maybe I left it at Lowe's when I was doing my self-checkout. I wasn't paying attention because, we'd be absent-minded and stuff like that. So what did he do instead? So he calls the place up, he calls Lowe's up, and it's like, hey, did I leave my thing? They're like, no, we don't see it. Is your name Patrick? And then Darwin was like, yeah, my name Patrick. You know what I'm saying? Let me get the codes so I can get that money and that. No,
trying to relive the story. Last time on the barbecue.
So basically, bottom line is, ladies and gentlemen, I did find my wallet, and I believe.
Yeah, but how?
Listen, I'm about to say it. I believe, that I manifested it based off me meditating, thinking about it appearing in my hand. Now, did it appear in my hand the way Darwin said it should appear, just pop in my hand? No. Damn. But I did get an image of where it was, and where it was in a place that I would have never found it had I not thought of it. So it has never happened as many times. And I would say this, Darwin, as many times as I put my wallet in that place, I never got stuck there. Never.
And here's the crazy part, though. In your mind, like you went and you meditated because his wife was telling him, "Hey, man, he got a book called Mind Over Matter, or Mind to Matter. Sorry, Mind to Matter." Mm-hmm. And she was reminding him, hey, man, you got to practice that stuff. Practice that. So he went there and he started meditating and pictured himself saying, oh, look, here it is. And he kept on meditating on that for like however long he did. And then he let it go. Right.
That's it. This is the truth right here.
He left that bit, went back to watching his shows. And then out of nowhere, he got an image. He was like, he saw that bit where it was like, oh, it's up under some mechanism. He saw it in his mind's eye, right? He saw that bit. Then he got up, went out there. Mind you, he had already gone out and looked there multiple times. He had looked all throughout his car. But he went in, looked underneath, and that bit was up in the corner like he would have never found that bit.
It was in the mechanism.
In the mechanism, which is like, and mind you, he had already looked there. So that's the crazy
1,000 times.
Yeah.
But see, at the same time, I mean, back to what I was kind of saying, it's like it's a lot of it is the fact that we're on autopilot. Even when you were searching for it those times deliberately, it's like you're mad, you're frustrated, you know what I mean? You're still not focused, really, you know what I mean, on the task at hand, which is finding this wallet. You're thinking of, oh man, I gotta cancel this thing. Oh man, somebody used my card. So like, even while you're searching, you're not really giving your full attention to the time that you took to actually search, because your head's not all the way in the game. And so it is when you can quiet yourself down internally, to where you would have saved yourself all those searches if you would have, I mean, it's all practice to get better, you know what I mean? But from the jump, if you quieted yourself down initially, you know what I mean, you take that internal inventory, you would have probably found it, you know what I mean, a lot sooner than you ended up finding it.
I will say this. I wish I could take a picture of where it was. So there were plenty of times. So like I told you, I lost it last night. So I slept on it. So when I wake up in the morning, I'm a little more strategic about my searching now. So I call Lowe's calmly, right? I go back to my car.
Where's my fucking wallet? Where's my fucking wallet?
I go back to my car and I recheck underneath my seat. I've checked that underneath that seat. I don't know how many times under both seats, right? Then I go to into the back of the car and check underneath the seats from there, and then go into the trunk and check my gym bag everywhere. So I'm calm, but now I'm starting to get frustrated again because I'm like, yo, it isn't anywhere. So I'm like, okay, it's definitely lost, right? So I freeze all the cards and then. So then one of the things he talks about in the book, he talks about when he goes snorkeling and he can't find his keys and he pictures his, what I was doing in my mind was I stopped saying that it is lost and I start picturing me finding it. So I stopped saying I lost it and I just started picturing me having my wallet, me finding my wallet and saying, and knowing that, and hold on. And knowing that when I found it, it was in a place that was just a weird, obscure place that it shouldn't have been, which it was, right? So within that, I was, like I told you, like 30 minutes later, I get that image of it being underneath the seat in the mechanism. It instantly, you want to tell yourself, dude, I've already checked underneath the seat 1,000 times. I'm not going back out there and checking it again. But I knew what my thought intention was. So when you speak and say, okay, this is my intention of having this thing in my hand, and then you get the image of it being in your hand, you don't upset the thing that gave you the information and say, oh, I'm gonna reject it. So you accept it. And I went out there and I found it, and so I could have easily. Here comes Sophie right now. I could have easily.
Let me pause right to ask you this question for your next step, your statement. When you saw it in your mind's eye, you saw it where it was in your mind, so you went straight there back to the car, or you went to search again?
Yeah,
I went straight back to underneath the car and I checked like the mechanism, but it's black. So the mechanism is black and the wallet itself is flat and black, right? And so when I check the mechanism, initially I'm looking at it and it's black. I don't see it. And then I'm like, I don't see it. And I look to the left and it's right there flat amongst the mechanism underneath the seat. It's never been that. In the many times I've done it, it's never flipped underneath that area, ever. Yeah. And that's why I said, that's why I was so appreciative. And I said, gosh, darn, it actually really works. Because the time that I sit there and say, this is what I expect, my expectation of this happening, it happened in the way that I envision it happening, right? Yeah. Now, your methodology of rethinking and retracing your steps, yes, that works too, right? We're talking about, like for instance, when you put your keys down and you're autopilot, you're not aware of where you put your keys down, right? That happens too. But what he's also talking about in the book is the stuff where you lost your keys in the ocean and you're looking for it and searching for it. You start walking on the beach and all of a sudden you just picture you having your keys again. And next you know some kids that were snorkeling say, hey, sir, right when you about to leave, hey, are you looking for some keys?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That is another level of manifestation. And what you are doing, even in your retracing your steps, you're still manifesting something lost.
Yeah. Hey, you don't know, Darwin, manifestation. In that moment when you started thinking, oh, it's over there, that bit didn't just pop up right there, man. Like you don't even know. You might be used to having superpowers and you don't even realize, because I got something for y'all. And then since Sophie said, then we'll get into the official topics and stuff like that. So I was getting ready to plan a trip to Catalina Island with my queen. We were going for a spearfishing trip. And it was the first time going, freezing cold waters, like it's 50 degrees in that bit. So I had got a special cap because my locks are too big to fit inside my wetsuit, so I wear a different wetsuit. But I wanted something for my head, so I had bought one, just a cap, And it was like 2 months after that I was actually gonna go. We're getting ready to go. Like I can't find it. I'm packing all the stuff in. I can't find it. I don't know where it is. I'm like, dang, I don't know. And I'm getting like a little frustrated in my mind because I'm like, man, where the heck could it be? I looked at all the places that I normally usually have it. So I was like, bump it. I'll just pack everything in to this bag. I had a new bag or whatever, pack everything into the bag. Get to Catalina Island. But my girl says, yo, don't worry about it. Like, you're going to find it. You're going to find it. And in my mind, I'm like, man, I can't find something that ain't here. But then in my spirit, I'm like, but she be finding stuff all the time in ways that I find is impossible. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna leave it to her. I'm not gonna let my disbelief come in. I'm gonna say, okay, yeah, all right, cool. I'm gonna go along with it. Anyways, couldn't find it. We get to the dang place in the beach, right? All the way out, take the ferry, go all the way across. We get in there, we unpacking all of our stuff. She reaches inside the top of the bag. The top, not the bottom, not hidden nowhere. She reaches in the bag, pulls that bit out. And I look at that and I said, babe, you just pulled that out of nowhere because I meticulously packed my bags. I know it wasn't in there because it was a brand new item. It wasn't even mixed in all the stuff. I had one onesie that we're going to use to stay warm. That bit was on top of the onesie. On top. And I had never used that bag before. Never. Like, none of the stuff that I had could have fallen in or done anything like that because it was all brand new gear, bro. And that bit was in there out of nowhere. So that's why I say, like, yes, maybe you could be thinking I'll misplace it somewhere, but that bit was not even hidden to I couldn't even rationalize and say, oh, maybe it was just in there in the bottom. It was a brand new bag. I had never used the bag before. And that bit was like it was the last thing packed in there. She just reached in there and magically pulled that bit out. I was like, okay, babe, like, honestly, I can look at it back and rationalize anything else, but I cannot rationalize because I meticulously packed this back and there's no way that thing was on the top. Like it was the last thing put in that bit. So, like, I know there's ways to manifest things just out of nowhere because she had to have teleported that bit. I don't care what nobody said. She had to have teleported that into existence.
We're gonna save that one again for a whole other stream because Sophie coming in, she's like, what are y'all talking about?
We just talking about random man.
No, I'm like, do Collins have to say big every daggone word? That's what I'm over here like.
That's what happens when you get relaxed. All right.
Part of my vernacular.
So we're gonna start it off. We got two new panelists in. Well, Dr. Pierre is not new. He was in one of our first ones a couple years ago. We're gonna bring him back in, Dr. Pierre, and we got my guy Darwin in here. Guys, let me start with Dr. Pierre. Go ahead, unmute yourself and tell us what you're up to. Tell us what you're doing. Give us a nice little intro before we get started.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? How you guys doing tonight? Everybody good?
We're good.
Good, man.
Hi, how you been?
Good.
Looking good. All right, cool. Darwin, what's going on, man? It's been a while. So since the last time I was on one of these panels, Jamare, man, good job setting this thing up again, man. And thanks for the invite. Since the last time I was on, a lot of things have changed. Became a business owner officially. I learned a lot of things about our healthcare system. I learned a lot of things about running a business. I learned a lot of things about filing business taxes. It's just a different world when you become your own boss versus, working a 9-to-5. Sometimes you start asking yourself, maybe it was better to work that 9-to-5. So, I'm just here to give a different perspective in the event that, it's asked. Again, Jamare, thanks for letting me in, right? Collins, it's always a pleasure, man. Take it easy, gentlemen.
Okay, Darwin said he was lagging a little bit, so I guess he's gonna pop out and try to pop back in. And he was gonna be my starter. Hold on, he's coming back. Hold on, let me see. Let's see if he's
okay.
Darwin, you good?
Yeah, we good. All
right. It's your turn for the intro. Let us know what you got going on.
All right on. Well, good evening, everyone. This is Darwin. You can find me on Twitter, Darwin_Darko. I got a couple of things going on in my world. I currently live in the DC area, working for the government. It's kind of stuff I studied throughout college and my master's. Personally, a little project that I got is the Ekphrastic podcast. It's an art-centric podcast. It's kind of nuanced. There's not a lot of people doing anything like this in the art space. Basically, I research a particular artist for that episode, and by artists I mean fine arts. So we're talking about like painting, photography, sculptures, things of that nature, things that you'll find in museums. So I've been doing that for a couple of years. It's called the Ekphrastic, which is it's basically just a word that means a visual, like it's a description, a dramatic description of a visual art piece. So whatever that art piece may be, I would end up writing a poem dramatically describing this poem as if somebody, like let's say somebody was blind, they couldn't see it, right? And I would describe it to them. But what I would really be describing is kind of like the emotion along with what they're visually seeing. It's not like you're saying, okay, there's red in the corner, and then there's a blue stripe going down the middle, and then there's a person in the background. No, it would be something to the nature of the clouds that seem to be rolling in off of the landscape, when it's really just, a picturesque scene, something like that. So that's just an example. But the Ekphrastic comes out once a month. You can follow me on Twitter, on Instagram, all at the Ekphrastic. I used to be in the military, so sometimes I do guest spots on other podcasts, talk about military stuff. That's a little bit about myself. So I'm glad to be joining the crew and seeing where the conversation goes. So take it away.
All right. So Collins, Ham, Sophie, y'all give it like a real quick 10-second because you had intros before. Let us know who you are real quick. Go ahead.
Yeah, Collins Peters, relationship guru. Go to divadiscoveries.com to join the mailing list to get to be a part of our dope adventurous retreats that we do, and get some breakthroughs in your life and all that good stuff. Go ahead, Hamilton.
All right, Hamilton Clarington, artist, videography. If you need any films, you need any music, let me know.
Sophia Woods. You can find me on all social media at Sophia Law Woods. And so if you want to keep up with what shows I'm in or a part of, that's how you can find out.
Yeah. And everything's going to be down in the description, y'all. Don't worry.
All right. Make sure you guys don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, all that good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Us going. All right. So today we're going to, obviously, if you just come in or you came in before, we were talking about some manifestation type stuff because Collins wanted to put it on while we were having a little sidebar conversation. But we're going to get the show started today with Roe versus Wade and the implications of what.
So we're just going to keep it light, right?
We're going to keep it. We're going to try to keep it light. It's not my forte, so I'm going to go ahead and swing that. Let the conversation begin with one of the experts, Darwin, in that field. And I say expert because he likes that field. He likes to talk about those things. So let's go ahead, swing that, and let him start the conversation. And any thought or ideas that we can piggyback or rebuttal or debate or just have nice discourse about it, we'll let that go ahead. So go ahead, Darwin, take the floor, sir.
Thanks, Jamare. There's so many different angles you can have this conversation in. And that's even before we get to the political partisanship of it. Legally, and I'm no attorney, but I know a little bit. Legally, for this to have been overturned, it resets a 50-year precedent in the country. The law of the land has been a particular way for over 50 years, and this resets it. Never before has there been a Supreme Court ruling that reduces rights. I don't know if I said that clearly. So all these Supreme Court rulings, no matter whoever they were in favor for, it was always to extend further and further rights to whatever party won the day. But this particular ruling, so basically 50 years ago, you know, women and families won the right to privacy in their medical care. That was really what Roe v. Wade was. It's not really about abortion. It's about privacy. It's a privacy decision, right? Everything after that, I mean, when it comes to the 14th Amendment, when it comes to the 21st, all of these different amendments and everything that were codified eventually into law and affirmed by the Supreme Court when they were challenged, all was to increase rights. Even when we talk about gay marriage, that was increasing rights for that particular segment of the population. This is the first time ever that people had a certain right yesterday, and then today it's lesser than they had it before. So that's a nonpartisan way of even looking at that from the very start of decreasing rights. And so for the Supreme Court to have done that and taken that precedence where they will now reduce individual or certain segments rights and what quote unquote freedom, we yell freedom all the time, and these are the types of things where freedom to do as you wish with your own body. For the Supreme Court to reduce that now is a whole new precedent. And not only that, the links that this case, so this case, let's say this case is a base case, right? Roe v. Wade. There's several other cases that have come since then, and that they referenced back to the decision from Roe v. Wade to stack up to these other cases that came afterwards. And so now if you take off, so basically what happens, you pull the rug from the foundation of all these other cases, it has a big trickle down effect on a lot of things that we have yet to see what the implications are going to be. Right. So I'll at least put that part out there.
Okay. So I have a question that I've been seeing on social media, and I don't know if this is accurate or not. So the question is to the panel first. Is it that the government is saying, similar to same-sex marriage, is it that the government is saying that they're taking their hands out of the pot and allowing states to decide their own legality as far as abortion rights in their states? So the federal government saying pretty much, hey, we're not going to decide it. We're going to leave it to the states to decide if they're going to have abortion be legal or illegal in their states. Is what being said?
I'm gonna let somebody else go. But no, it's not. The short answer is no, but somebody else can go.
I would say that's I have a different opinion than Darwin. I would say that's the gist of it. Pretty much they stopped Roe v. Wade from being a federal thing and put it back in the states' hands. Because really, where in the Constitution, they say the 14th Amendment, but where in the Constitution does it say anything about abortion rights? So, and it's not a constitutional thing. They have to, codify it and make it a constitutional thing, because right now it's not. So,
which is exactly why it's never been a federal concern. Exactly. Because it's exactly. So when he said back is taking the federal government out of it and leaving it back to the state's hands, that's the premise alone is false, because it was never a federally codified thing. Yeah, it was never a federally codified thing.
Okay.
So that's the point of why I really said no, but then I moved on to that. But with the fact that it isn't federally, and so now they're talking about making it, codifying it into law. So now they're taking the positive step, thinking of taking the positive. They're not going to be able to do it. It's just there's just no political. The math just doesn't math. You know what I mean? So that's not going to happen. But in terms of the way that, yes, it's not in the Constitution. Abortion is not in the Constitution, but it's not. Again, it's not about abortion. That wasn't the big thing that was ruled when Roe v. Wade was ruled is privacy. It's the right to privacy. And that's the thing where you say, hey, the right to privacy is not in the Constitution. And that should have you thinking. That should have you thinking, because Roe v. Wade was like a placeholder for privacy. We never had privacy codified in the Constitution. We never had we didn't have a Supreme Court ruling about privacy. The closest thing we had was Roe v. Wade. And Roe v. Wade, again, like I said, it's a privacy issue. So once they take that away, now we're back to the state of we don't have a right to privacy. And that's not even just women. That's everybody now.
Okay, Darren, I'm not sure if you know this, but can you be explicit? Because you keep saying that Roe v. Wade is not specifically about abortion. Can you just explicitly tell us what the case was revolving around Roe v. Wade?
Okay, I don't know 100% from step by step what the whole case was, but when the argument that the attorneys made when Roe v. Wade was being tried was not that, oh, this person has a right to terminate a pregnancy. It was, hey, this person has a right to consult their physician, have a medical diagnosis, and have treatment with a medical professional, with the consultation of the medical professional, and without the government or anybody else stepping into their doctor's office. They have a right to that privacy relationship with their medical professional. That's what the argument was. And because it happens to be the case related to an abortion, that was taking place, that's why we automatically tie abortion to that. But when it comes to you being in your home and not being surveilled, or when it comes to you, your medical records, whether you're trying to get a job or not, and or trying to get insurance, for example, and they can just dig into your past all willy-nilly because you don't have right to privacy anymore. All of that stems from what the protection that we all had from the ruling of Roe v. Wade. Now, right now, it ain't saying that it automatically makes us give up all our information, but you're going to have, how these companies in these industries go. They rather do something to you as the customer, quote unquote, and just pay a fine later if they got to. They're going to violate all they want. And then later we're going to write a rule in the SEC or something that says, oh, you're not supposed to take people's data without their permission, or you're not supposed to use their medical information to deny them insurance and all that kind of stuff. All those things before you had to sign a waiver for. You really don't have to do that anymore now that Roe v. Wade is gone.
Doctor.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to get to me. So interesting, right? Apart from the NRA, can anybody tell me what's one of the next biggest lobbyists on Capitol Hill is?
No.
Pharmaceutical? The pharma?
Who said that? Correct, Darwin, because Darwin works in DC, so he knows. All right, so get this, right? A day after Roe v. Wade got passed, right? I get on 5 distributors, also known as wholesalers, to buy Plan B in bulk because I know it's coming. Guess what happened? Anybody want to take a guess?
Go ahead, tell us.
Hold on, what state you in? You in Georgia?
Yeah, in Georgia. But the distributors are nationwide.
Okay.
Plan B.
So they banned Plan B?
No, it's all gone.
Oh.
Huh.
So we have a nationwide shortage right now of Plan B. Gone.
Because they think they're gonna ban it.
I logged in. If you own a business, a pharmacy, in my case, and you're trying to order Plan B, good luck with it. It's all
wow.
Gone. So
hey, don't mess up.
hey, you thought it was inflation. You thought it was inflation before.
Well, that ain't birth control though. That's
you thought it was inflation before. Wait till you see how much they charging for this Plan B.
Hey, I may not get my hands on some. I'm charging $2,000.
And they gonna pay it too. They gonna pay it.
So, for those of you that don't know, you can actually buy Plan B over the counter now. Like literally walk into a store, buy it, and people have started hoarding it like they did or toilet paper at the beginning of the pandemic. Walgreens and CVS removed Walgreens and CVS removed their limit on the amount that you can buy. So now we have a situation where people are hoarding it, right? So I just checked Amazon because about a week ago, before Roe v. Wade was overturned, we looked and saw that Amazon was selling it for $6 a pill, right? Now it's up to $15 a pill, and it's going to take 7 days before it can get to you. Well, you have 72 hours in order to use this. So
that's how you got that bit first.
So what's the shelf life? What's the shelf life of
normally about 2 years?
Man, that would have been a good money maker, bro.
So this is so when I look at the overturn of Roe v. Wade, and I need to have I'm not on either side, right? I was brought up in a Christian household, so I have certain background, and then being a medical professional, I know that if a patient comes in and they have an AV shunt, I'm putting mom and baby's life at risk. So who am I? I'm not God. I can't tell you what to do or what not to do, right? Mm-hmm. So I just try my best not to get in that argument. But from what I'm seeing is that there's a lot more going on behind the background than meets the eye. Mm-hmm. You know, if me and Jamare was speaking about this briefly recently, is there anything stopping the Democrats right now from stacking the courts? If they wanted to, in 2 weeks or a month, they can have Roe v. Wade re-overturned.
Well, okay, so theoretically, what you're saying, yes, they could actually make it into a law. It was never on the books as a law. It was just a court ruling, so everybody just left it alone. Everybody was like, hey, it's a court ruling, and nobody's gonna the Supreme Court isn't gonna overturn themselves. Not in the 50 years. Like if it was something that happened 100, 150 years ago, you know, yeah, maybe they might do that. But 50 years, no, they're not gonna overturn themselves. So Democrats or whoever, not even just Democrats, whoever's on the side of liberalism, you know, thought it was fine. They wouldn't take the step to spend their time. I'm not gonna say waste their time because now it would have been a good for them. It would have been a good time well spent. They never codified it, but right now, in order to do that, they would need to have all 50 Democrats on board, and plus the vice president to cast a tiebreaker. But all 50 Democrats ain't on board. That's just to overturn the filibuster.
Per usual.
Yeah, they have to overturn the filibuster first, and then after that, they have to then write a law for codifying health access. They wouldn't call it abortion. They would call it privacy to health access or something like that, because a bunch of stuff falls under that line of that kind of OBGYN and all those kind of medical treatments. So they then would be faced with one, not that they overturn the filibuster for something. The second thing is now you have Democrats who you thought was on your side. Turns out they actually are, you know, anti-choice themselves. And right now they can hide in the background being like, oh, I'm a Democrat and the Republicans aren't letting us do it. It's the Republicans' fault. They could just blame Republicans. But there's probably some Democrats that don't want to overturn it, you know, that are kind of happy that this thing happened anyways, Roe v. Wade. So you don't necessarily have the 50 votes to overturn the filibuster. And then once you overturn the filibuster, you're talking about writing that law then you're talking about packing the courts. We're just in the arms race at that point. It's just an arms race. As soon as the Republicans gain the majority, they're stacking the courts. Then Democrats come back, they're going to stack some more courts. We're going to have a Supreme Court with like 100 people in it.
And that's why Biden doesn't want to stack it. Correct.
That's what's going to happen. But, you know, theoretically, I mean, I'm a chaos artist personally, and I think what's going to happen anyways is the Republicans, as soon as they get in charge, even though the Democrats never pull the trigger, the Republicans will do it. They'll do it. They'll set that precedence. They'll start it. They will pop off, and next time they get in charge, they will add 2 or 3 more seats to the Supreme Court.
And Darwin is correct. When Obama's last term, his last year, do you remember what the Republicans said about him nominating someone to the Supreme Court?
Of course, they held the seat, and he had a whole year, like a year and a half left on
Correct.
his term,
Correct.
and they held the seat. They held the seat. They stole the seat.
Right.
But guess what? They ruthless like that.
Right.
They
And then
ruthless like that.
when in the last couple of months of Trump's presidency, what did he do?
Amy Coney Barrett. They got her in within.
They got it in.
Within it was like 2 weeks. It was like 2 weeks.
Correct.
I've never seen a hearing go that fast.
So
2 weeks.
But Darwin, so what you say is like it said president's last 50 years and nobody thought that it was going to be overturned. What I'm seeing on social media is that they knew the Republicans were trying to overturn this thing for the last 50 years, and the Democrats did nothing. And they were supposed to codify it plenty of times, and they said it wasn't their top priority. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the bet that they made. That's the bet that they made.
So my question is,
but think about, but also, it has been 50 years. So you would think it's been 50 years, so we good. You would think you good money if you're thinking this thing's going to stand the test of time.
But not if you're seeing your opponent
fighting tooth and nail for it,
fighting to do it. So it's only a matter of time.
That's
Republican,
true.
like Democrats, when it comes down to make something out, put something out there, they always fall. They always Republicans, they'll band together and pass bills. They'll band together, pass bills. You're a Republican?
So let's ask the only lady on the panel right now, how she feels about the whole situation.
Do you mean am I pro-choice? Is that what you're asking?
No, that doesn't. Like, how do you feel about it just being overturned in general?
Yeah, so I think that and so I'm glad that Darwin clarified that the case was really about having privacy as a patient, because I think that if anything is going to take away somebody's privacy on what to do to their body, when to do it to their body, legally, that should not be a thing. Like, the government should not be able to engage in a process like that. That's really ridiculous. Now, if we're talking about like mental health, then that's a community issue, or that's still a healthcare issue and things like that. But it shouldn't be like a legal issue, and the government is looking to see, oh, did you get an abortion? So, like, how are they going to punish people who get abortions? What's going to be the process? Because I just feel like it's so weird for the government to even have a role in anything concerning a person's domain, like their physical body. I just can't even process that in my mind. So to me, it's just, it was a waste of time for them to go back and do that.
But see, it's a waste of time to the rest of us who are thinking like that. When we talk about the United States and we use the word freedom, we use the word liberty and all that kind of stuff. We're true to it. These people who took that action aren't really true to that statement. What they're really doing is they want control, and they want the rules according to their heritage, their culture, their own history, and their own understanding of the world. That's what they really want. Everything is fine as long as you do it our way. You know what I'm saying? That's all that's about. So when you talk about it's a waste of time, for them, they're like, well, we get to control, and it's not just control the birth part or the abortion part. They're going to take it to the point where they control the contraception part, to the point where before you can even, they could even outlaw condoms. They want control,
which means that they're really going to be able to control the dynamics of population.
There you go.
When it comes to race, when it comes to
there you go.
Those things.
Anyone know what our reproductive rate is currently in the United States?
No. It's like 50% or something like that.
No, it's a figure between. It's supposed to be 2.1 for a culture to continue on. We've dropped. We're in like 1.7, 1.9-ish, depending on where they took the poll. Other countries in Europe are way lower, 1.3, 1.1. So basically, what that number shows is that couples aren't having enough babies
to replace the dying
population. And you guys can look this up. It's a legit fact, and this is going on for a while now. Mm-hmm. So there are intellectuals that think that this is what pushed them to overturn Roe V Wade, because we are having a problem. People just aren't having babies anymore. Period. You know,
good.
There used to be a time when we would see individuals would be 40 years old and be a grandmother. Those days are done. You're 40 years old, you're just having your first kid.
But here's where it's even more insidious. It's not just there's a specific population that they want to reproduce.
Yep.
Don't get that twisted.
I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to say it.
Don't get that twisted.
I was going to say it.
They are purposely.
Gonna say it.
Yeah, I was going to say it, yeah, but I'm trying to be better. I'm getting better, taking my time. Okay?
No, you was right. Don't get no better. You are already fine. Just where you was with it, because there's a specific what they're also on the back of their heads, and this has been going for a couple of decades. They've been warned that the United States will soon be, and there's several states that are already like this, will soon become, the United States will soon become a majority minority country. That means when you group all the minorities together, it makes up 51% or more of the population versus the white population, which would just become 49% and then 40% and then 30% of the total population, right? So they feel that they are becoming minorities in their own country. Now, granted, what it would take all of us to band together, us with the Latinos and the Asians, you know what I mean, in the Middle East, and all band together, and the blacks, and be like, okay, get whitey, and then we would really be, but it ain't even really like that though. All the minority cultures ain't banding together really like that. You have a lot of them that end up becoming white adjacent and forget all about it. I mean, you talk about your Irishmen, you talking about your Italians, all these people used to be quote unquote color or supposed to these other things, non-white, and they've been adopted into whiteness, so there's other cultures, like people from Argentina, for example, a lot of them can pass for white, who are Hispanic, but like, they can assimilate right into whiteness. And so white people are really worried about themselves becoming minority, when it's really in the fact is it's not really happening in terms of like their day-to-day life. Although the numbers might bear out, you have places like Texas who are becoming majority minority, but still it's not like the people of color have the power over these people that are already in charge, that are these what is it, these these good old boy clubs, but that you combine the population thing where they need to increase population, but they also keep in mind that there's a specific population that they want to increase and a specific population that they don't mind decreasing. So when you see all these other laws that they push in, talking about immigration bans and all this kind of stuff, and not providing resources to communities of color, they'll let you have all the babies you want, let you destroy each other. But and then when you kind of find out, how many people, who takes up most welfare in this country? It's white women. But yet it's the black people that are stigmatized, black women that are stigmatized to be like, they're welfare queens and all that kind of stuff, right? Because they want to take away resources from the black community and other communities. But the white communities, they get all kinds of subsidies, they'll get all kinds of freaking benefits and everything, and they help their populations thrive. So keep that in mind at the same time with something like that.
So how true, Max Kevon, this is the birth dearth? I haven't read it, I haven't even seen the cover. But obviously that's another thing that's spreading around, some book called The Birth Dearth, where he talked about 60% of abortions are white families.
Mm-hmm. I haven't read the book, but I have been reading some commentary.
Okay.
And apparently those numbers are legit. More than one trusted sources have come up with those numbers, that the majority of children that are aborted are from Caucasian families. As to whether or not overturning Roe v. Wade is going to change that, herein lies the problem, right? Like I said, I'm neither for or against, but something that we were taught in medicine is there's right and wrong, and there's whether something is ethical or not. If a person, all right, so it may be wrong to kill a person, but if you bring a life into this world and you don't want the life, or you don't want to take care of that life, then you make that life a living hell. You may mess them up mentally. They may go on to be a mass shooter. Then we have another set of problems, right? If you guys look at that guy that in the Uvalde shooting, right? And I think they should charge his mom. His mom neglected him. The mom was addicted to drugs, and she didn't give him the attention that he needed. And look at what happened. So we're going to have a bunch of unwanted children coming into this world, right? So that in itself is almost like what's it called again? It's the Jamar, try to help me out here. Is the law of unforeseen circumstances?
Oh yeah.
Whereby which you try to fix something
else,
and then something else happens because you fix one thing, right? Yeah. It's going to be interesting. The next 20, 30 years are going to be interesting.
Hey, here's the worst part. So, okay, I'll give you another example. A parallel country was going through the same kind of crap we was going through 50 years ago. Germany, right? They had an abortion issue just like we do, right? And here's how they resolved it. And this is eventually somewhere we have to go, and I don't know if this could be the tail end of this conversation if y'all want to continue, but this would be somewhere where we eventually have to get as a country is some sort of compromise, where we went into the privacy realm and kind of said, okay, this is we're going to allow abortion under these particular circumstances without undue burden on the woman. In Germany, what they did is they actually limited the weeks of pregnancy, right? So, and I know a lot of people on the left are like, wait, no, it shouldn't be limited to such and such weeks. It should be 20 weeks or 24 weeks. And there's an argument. Some places are 15 weeks, whatnot. Germany did, I don't remember exactly how many weeks, but let's say it was like 15 weeks in Germany, right? But that's not the main point. What they also did though, is they guaranteed maternity leave. They guaranteed prenatal care. They guaranteed things like pre-K and healthcare, free healthcare. So now, if you're gonna give somebody, you're gonna leave somebody with no choice, right? But they have to have this baby, no matter how the pregnancy came about. In the United States, what do? We care this much about the fetus and the unborn child, and then once they're born, fuck them. We take away every social safety net. We take away all of the potential opportunities for a mother. Even in the corporate world, women that are pregnant, they tend to like lose their jobs and get fired and shit like that for mysterious reasons and shit, right? We totally vilify women when they have kids, when they get pregnant, when they have kids, and we don't take care of them. But yeah, we want to force them to have these kids. In Germany, it's like, okay, if we're gonna quote unquote force you to have these kids, we can at least help you take care of this kid. So Kevon's talking about people are having kids that they don't want. Well, there could be a variety of reasons people may not be able to have that kid at that time. But guess what? In Germany, they'll at least make that burden, if it's a burden, that much easier on you, because they will help you through that. They will help you through it. So to get to the point where maybe you're on your feet and you like, man, hey, you could even say, I'm glad I didn't have that abortion, because now I'm good, because I also had that support system to help me bring this child to a healthy state.
So Andrew actually said something before, and then we could just go on to the next topic. But he said that it was predicated on some religious nonsense, and then he also said that Germany they also have a universal healthcare like scenario, so they actually have healthcare associated, just like what you're talking about, Darwin. So I would say, I mean, my last thing and my only thing that I would say about this is, one, as an individual, I'll just empower you to do whatever the hell you want. People are going to do what they want. The same thing about the guns. People are going to do what they want. If they got to take a trip over, to the next state, they're going to do that. And if they got to just do it themselves, and start hurting themselves and having scenarios like that, they're going to do that. So, I mean, I don't think anybody's going to really stop at the free will, because that's God-given, It's just going to make it a lot harder, or they have more consequences when you do exercise your free will. But that's part of being a human being. You got consequences and scenarios for you. But I'll say to any women out there that are worried about stuff, hey man, just go on ahead and find solutions. If you want to have an abortion,
but you're right. You're right. When you say that, you're right when you say that. It's not going to stop abortions.
Nah, not at all.
It's not. It's just going to increase risky abortions.
Yeah.
People going. That's what's
right.
going to
That's what I was going to say. It's easy to say, well, just do whatever you want to do. But when something becomes illegal, the things that make it medically ethical, like that also kind of flies out the window. And then people are in more danger because they're not getting good medical care because they're trying to do something that's illegal. Sure. So it still needs to be something that's not illegal.
I would just say, don't rely on the government to heal you or help you, and then you'll be more prepared when the government does what they naturally trying to do, which is probably hurt you or harm you. So, I mean, I'm all about I would say just self-responsibility, like responsibility for self, regardless of what the outside scenarios are. Like, there's always ways around stuff. You can find way, just be creative about that. If you're not willing to be creative or go a little bit further, then
you gotta have a baby.
You gotta have a baby, man. You gotta have a baby.
Darwin, let me ask you one more question, or anybody who knows the answer to this question. Okay, so it's about privacy, right? So are abortions still legal, but the fact that the government can find out if you got one, like what's the technical thing happening right now? So
right now it's actually just in the hands of the different states. So it's not federally illegal, you know what I mean? So it meaning that it depends on which state you're in, right? And because
you can go get it still.
Say what now?
If you're in a state that allows it, you can go.
Yes. Because it's not a federally legal thing.
Makes a difference.
Like legally.
Yeah, no. But with that said, though, there are some states, and this is not going to work, so nobody should worry about this. But some states are going to try, and they're going to try, and they're going to make some people's life a living hell. What they're going to try to do is some states where it's not illegal, some people might try to leave that state and go get an abortion in another state and come back home. And this state that was illegal, they're going to try to prosecute that person for trying to go somewhere.
They'll get sued if they do that massively.
They're going to try. That's what I'm saying.
You're pretty much saying that you
not
own
really
the person. You're pretty much saying you own the person.
Y'all women out there, you want to do something? Take a trip.
Not really.
We'll try.
Road trip.
First of all, what about people who can't afford to travel across state lines and they got to pay for the actual abortion?
For those
get
folks,
back home. That's a lot.
I'm the controversial man. I'm the controversial. For those folks, don't have sex. And if you got raped, you know what I'm saying? If you got raped, then first of all, go kill that dude who raped you. You know what I'm saying? Number
this
two,
is unrealistic, Collins.
Hop to another thing.
Somebody mute Collins, Mike.
Collins' words are words of his alone. He does not represent the podcast or everybody else associated with the podcast.
We need to have that going on the bottom of the screen.
I just muted him. I muted him. Let me unmute him. He good.
So like Donald
He's still talking.
What's going to happen? You're not going to stop abortions. What's going to happen is there'll be more risky abortions, more backyard abortions.
Right.
Here's a problem that we've faced in third world countries where abortions are concerned. People come up with these concoctions to have abortions. The kid gets, back in the day, they used to say, drink 3 hot Guinness, right? And it would abort the kid. Herein lies a problem. I've known women that have had backyard abortions, and guess what happens later on in life when they try to have a kid? It messes up that hormone cycle because there's actually 4 hormones that control ovulation and the implanting of that fetus into the uterus. You mess those up, and she might never be able to hold a fetus in her uterus ever again. So you stop the process, eventually it may cause kids in the future from not being able, people in the future from not being able to have kids when they really want to have kids, right?
well,
Come on, hold up. Come on. Let Trashy TV know, because he or she just popped in.
Oh.
Let them know what happened to Plan B. Let them know what's going on with Plan B.
So, Trashy TV, you can't find Plan B anymore. All the distributors in the United States, the drug wholesalers, are out. It's gone, literally gone. I try to buy it myself, and it's gone. It's all gone nationwide. Now, the good thing about Plan B, and we're kind of lucky, is that the generic one is made in Spain, right? So Spain is a stone throw away compared to if you were getting it out of China or out of India, right? So I talked to some other guys in the industry. They say in about 2 weeks we should have enough supply for the nation again, right? And it's going to be a big money maker, right? If you guys are into stocks, I know the stock market is down. You probably want to look into the different companies that make Plan B, and if they're publicly traded, buy some stocks, right? But yeah, back to what I was saying earlier, the law of unintended consequences. We are going to have some major problems that the Supreme Court did not predict would happen, right? Like Darwin was saying, people are not going to stop. So either, if it's no longer safe, there's going to be problems.
Hey, Amazon, that mess says ships within 2 to 4 weeks.
Hey, get your solutions, man. Hey, Jamare, I want to talk about the next topic. What else you wanted? Because we about to.
All right. We're approaching that hour, so we're gonna lighten the mood a little bit. We're gonna lighten the mood. I know we talked about. Sophie don't want to talk about it though, but she gonna talk about it anyway.
She gonna talk about it.
Everybody has seen the video of the baby mama telling the baby daddy to take care of all her kids. Well, feed all her kids when he brings food by. What do you guys think?
I'm gonna just put something out there with that, and I'm gonna give y'all the floor. People keep missing this one part. She says in the video, "My food stamps don't come to the 7." So remember that part. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Hey. I'll start it off. I'll say two little things. One. No, it is not his responsibility to feed all the rest of them kids because he's not with the woman anymore. And two, I will say for those who are thinking about dating women with children, you're not just dating that woman. So if you're actually going to be with that woman, or like you marry that woman, or you with that woman, yes, you do take care of all of the kids. Like all of that is just my kid. That goes out the window once you're with that woman. But if whatever happens, whatever circumstances go down, and you're not with that woman anymore, it's not your obligation to take care of the rest of the kids. You can if you want to. You can if you want to be nice and stuff like that, but you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. That's what I got to say.
Give me 20 seconds. I agree with Collins, but me and Jamare was talking about that earlier, and I'm going to be the devil's advocate here. That guy should have bought food for all them kids. You know why? Because when his kid is sitting down eating, and all those kids came from the same mom, right? Those other kids are going to feel a type of way. And put yourself in the position of those other kids. It would not be cool if it was you. Imagine if your mom had 4 kids, 4 different baby daddies, and this one kid got the freshest Jordans, the freshest clothes, everything, and your dad is a bum, right? Because mom didn't know. What does mom know? You can't really tell people's true intentions. And then you sitting down there watching your brother dress, eat the best, and everything, and you have nothing. That could mess with your psyche.
You should have picked a bit different. Yeah.
And
the kids don't pick their dads, Collins.
I do believe we do.
So
kids do not pick their dads.
We pick our dads. Hey, that's a spiritual argument.
We do not.
Argument. But I think we do.
If that video was shot this year or last week or whenever, that guy's car is like 20 years old, man.
Hey, you never know. That's what I'm saying. Like, you never know. I don't know somebody's financial situation, but if you have the ability to and you can, then go ahead. But if you don't, and I think this is more of an indicator of the type of person. Like, say that somebody wrote that it was a skit, right? But even it being a skit, we have seen this scenario happen out in our lives somewhere, some situation. We've had dudes who had these kind of issues, or had women in our, you know, in our groups or whatever that have had these issues. So it's a skit that's indicative of reality, even if it is a skit. I would just say this, man. Look, pick and choose better. Men, pick and choose better who you lay your seed in. You know, who you lay down with. Make sure you know you laying down with a kind-hearted woman. You won't have to go through that scenario, because if that's a real scenario, you're talking about a person that sees something that they don't like and then they're recording it to embarrass the guy and create all of this other stuff. Like, that's a really cantankerous person, and nobody should really have to be forced to deal with that any more than they have to just to get their kid and to deal with their kid. So that was my.
I'm just gonna say, it ain't gonna sound good. Y'all ain't gonna like it. I'm just gonna say it. This is why you don't wife the baby mama. I mean, the single mother.
Boy, wait a minute now.
You don't wife the single mother.
No.
Listen.
You're not gonna do that with me
You
on this
don't wife the single
not gonna
mother.
do that.
Hey, he got the floor. Let
You
the
got
man,
obligations. Listen, they see what they did to this man. They didn't look at the woman and say that she could have bought McDonald's for the rest of them because her food stamps don't come to the 7th. They looked at the man who had one child with her that made, now he's obligated to feed all the kids.
Damn.
All the kids.
Okay, but
This is why you stay away from the single mama. Recreational use
I
only.
know you know that all single mothers
Recreational
are not
use only. I'm sorry.
Wow.
Hey,
sorry.
Andrew says thought he was going to say this is why we need Plan B.
And that's what I was going to say about how this
That's
was
crazy.
this was before Roe v. Wade got canceled. So
So it's over. Hey man, hey, it's too much obligations. It's too much stuff. Look what you gotta deal with.
Single mothers who got fathers who are there for their children, who got the same baby father, or who are taking care of their children. So even if they dating somebody, they don't need the father to do that. So it's like that statement was whack. That was raggedy.
Listen, okay. I guess from a woman's point of view, yes, but from a man's point of view, he's given resources. Now you got to give resources to 3 other kids he never had. So yeah, from a woman's
I'm
point
just
of view,
talking about the initial statement, not that.
He should feed all the kids because. But from a man's point of view, like, you taking my resources and you taking extra resources to feed 3 other kids that's not even mine.
All right.
Andrew asked, "Damn, are we obligated to feed everybody else's kid?"
Wait a minute now. Quick question. We always talk about, raising a kid. It takes a village to raise a kid. Here's kids, right? A village, right? So I think the dude was wrong just to buy food for that kid. Now, if you say he should have bought food for the mother too, no, that's why I say he's not with her anymore. But those are kids. They didn't do anything. They don't deserve that.
Dr. Pierre, let me ask you this. What if he came over and asked, hey, let me hang out with my son for a little bit, and then took him to McDonald's, ate good, you know what I mean, had him nice and full, and then just brought him back home with nothing? Would that be a problem? It's still been the one kid. Could he do that?
All right. So I'll give you guys an example. I have a brother, right? He says that he has 6 kids. My mom says, where the heck he got 6 kids from? Right? Because technically speaking, you only got 4, right? Whenever he goes to pick up his other kids from his other baby mamas, he takes her kids with him. And he carries all the kids out and treats all of them. You ever heard of the old woman that lived in the shoe? That's my brother, the old man that lived in the shoe. Like, he takes care of all the kids. It's the coolest thing ever. Those kids
that's
are
great. I mean, that's fantastic. That's very admirable. I mean, my grandfather, he took care of my grandmother's first 5 children or 6 children, and then had 5 with him. Right. I would say again, but I would say that's a bonus. You know what I mean? That's a bonus. Like, I wouldn't say that should be the expectation. Right. Like, it's like, hey, if somebody wants to do it, cool. But if they don't, then don't damn them and condemn them and try to embarrass them for not doing it. You know?
Yeah, but we're trying to build a community.
You're not entitled to that. You're not entitled.
Well, they in the community in that house alone. She had 4 kids in there.
They only want community on
She had her own community in that house.
In general, they want community on their terms. Because if we were talking about multiple wives, then they would like community. Okay.
Yeah. And so Princess says, if it were me,
we ain't gotta go.
I would take all the kids out
on that topic.
You say, I see, Collins, you would have taken all of them out?
Me?
Yeah.
Princess said, yeah, she said she would have taken all of them out. She says, but I wouldn't be mad at a man who took his son to eat. That would be his sole responsibility. See, and that's why, and y'all don't know, that's why that's my queen right there. Because it, like, if you have the ability to do it, cool. But like, if you don't, then okay, it's no problem, man. That's
yeah. So I mean, I'm not on either side of this one really. But Kevon, to kind of respond to what you're saying there, your brother could do that though. If we're keeping this conversation in the scenario that we're in, this is a dude who's bringing McDonald's to his kid at the house, and he, all right, and it's not like he's bringing, you know, I mean, freaking, freaking Chick-fil-A, you know what I mean, top end stuff. You know what I'm saying? He's just bringing McDonald's to the kid's place. Your brother though is able to do that. You know, maybe he's in a better financial position where he can take care of those. But like, it seems like this individual man, he's he can't really probably afford to do all that. I mean, it looks like their whole social economic situation is kind of, you know what I'm saying? She's waiting on her food stamps. You know, she got 4 kids at the crib. You know what I mean? And other baby dads coming and going and everything. So he probably can't really handle like, you know, like your brother may be able to handle.
You see,
so watch.
The thing
Watch
is,
who you breed with, man. Watch who you breed with. Watch it. Just y'all be more careful. Just because she fine, just because he look good, doesn't mean that that's what you wanted to be the father or the mother of your child.
What were you saying, Kevon?
No, I said I wouldn't look down on people that like you said, the mom was on food stamps. I remember, I'll tell the true story. So I make almost $200,000 now, right, a year, right? When I was in college, not
bragging or anything.
No, but I'm gonna go back before I got here. When I was in college, you guys know him. Remember Prince? Prince used to take his food stamps and buy food for me and him.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? So food stamps helped me to get to where I am today. So that's why I'll never look at individuals that are on food stamps and be like, well, look at them. I was there before. You see what I'm saying? And sometimes all it takes is just for them to get over that hurdle, and then they can take off. You see what I'm saying? So, again, it takes a community. We can't sit back and watch kids hungry and say, well, that ain't my obligation.
But you know what? I'm gonna go there with you. I'm gonna go there with you because
I can go there.
I'm gonna go there with you, Jamar. You can follow up too, and if we really switch up the conversation and have a serious conversation about what is happening with the dynamic of this relationship here. All right, you have a relationship where this father of one, perhaps, right, doesn't have a close enough relationship to this woman that A, they're not together, but B, that they can't talk about this thing. Hey, I'm feeling some type of way because I have these other kids. It's kind of hard for me to like, you know, provide for all of them. And I know you're doing a great job with your son specifically, you know. But here's the situation that's going on in the house, and you know, how can I help you? How can we work together to make this community? If we're talking about, we keep saying the words takes a village, takes a village. How about we actually do come together as a village, the man, that woman, and those kids, and figure some shit out, you know, versus the hostility that drives people apart, that drives families apart. That's clearly driving this family. And now they're even driven even further apart now that this dude's on blast, right? And who knows what's happening with her other relationships, right? With these other men. But we can't even begin the thread of a village. We can't even begin the thread of a healthy relationship in this situation over some freaking McDonald's. So there's way bigger implications in this whole story than just the McDonald's thing and the one son thing. It's the fact of how can Black people build a household, even if you're not married. Just it could be a blended family. There's different types of families out there, but how can you build a healthy relationship with somebody who's raising the very future of our country, of our culture? Jamari?
I'm just the host, man. I'm just letting it flow. Y'all go.
Well, I would say one thing y'all can do. Here's a simple solution. Well, here's a simple solution.
Jamari, you said you had something to say. Go ahead.
No, I like where Kevon took the conversation. I think it makes you really think, and Darwin's right in his point is obviously the relationship between that man and that woman is not enough for him to say. Because honestly, if the man really cared enough for the woman, if he really had a great relationship with her, he would naturally say, okay, I'm going to buy the rest of the kids some food too. That's how you know they have an actual relationship. So there's some type of disconnect between him and that woman, and he's up to the point where saying, I'm just going to take care of what my responsibility is, and my responsibility is that is my son, because I don't want you saying that I'm not taking care of my responsibility, so therefore I'm going to provide for just him. Them other kids, they ain't my concern. And that has to do with, you know, just how people within a culture see other kids. Like, again, he sees it. He said, I'm not gonna provide food for another man's kids. Where are they daddies at? You're trying to make it, like Princess said in a comment, you're trying to make it an obligation. It's not my obligation. Don't try to make it an obligation, because I may not be able to provide for all your kids all the time. I just want to make sure that my progeny is taken care of. And that's that aspect. But I also see Kevon's aspect of, you know, it does take a village, but that doesn't even really exist if we're going to talk about village and communities and stuff like that, because then we got to really get into the economics of how money is exchanged between us in the community, right? So that's my take.
Well, I will say this. If you guys want solutions, you know, like that's really what I do. So if there's somebody out there that's struggling with that kind of situation.
So problem there is in the community is sometimes the guys are in a lose-lose situation. I agree.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say that's a predominant problem. It's more in the situation. It's usually more that it's lose-lose than it's like even a lose-win situation. So, you know,
what do you mean by the guys are in a lose-lose situation more than the woman?
No, I'm saying it's
that what y'all mean?
More than a woman. I mean, everybody's losing. Everybody's losing. So everybody's losing. It's just that for the guys, it would be like a lose-lose situation in most scenarios. Like
divorce is an exception.
Huh?
Nothing.
Oh, sorry.
What Frugal say? I think I read it wrong. I don't know.
Jamare, what did everything Frugal say?
Some single mothers are that way, dude.
Oh yeah, those are exceptions.
Yeah.
Everybody
wish everything Frugal. She couldn't be on the panel today. Everybody, make sure you send out your prayers and meditation towards her, please.
I hope whatever you're going through and going with, man.
For you, Bomecka.
Everything Frugal. But yeah, man. I mean, there are practical solutions out there. You got to start first with yourself. Once you know who yourself is, and you great. You know, what's it? My king always demonstrates. Princess says, my king always demonstrates how to take 100% responsibility in every situation. Oh, thanks for the acknowledgement, Queen. Yeah, I mean, you can always take responsibility. When it goes over to obligation, that's the problem. You know, where like you have to, as opposed to you choose to. A lot of people will actually do something that they don't even want to do. When they choose to do it, like when they know it's a choice, but even something that they want to do, like, hey, what we used to say back in K101, hey, we used to make people not go to class because we'd say, better go to class. And he'd be like, hey, don't tell me what to do. You know, we would actually not do the things that we wanted to do because somebody told us to do it. You know, free will is a very powerful thing. So, you know, you get more flies with honey. That's one of the things that I'm learning, right? Instead of vinegar. So maybe, you know, honestly, Darwin, that creation that you said, if that woman had that conversation with them, first of all, I doubt that she would have even lost any of her men, right? But like,
okay, come on with the language, Collins. Okay, come on with the language, because maybe she didn't lose them. Maybe she got rid of them. Like, I feel like y'all can't see things y'all can't talk about this kind of stuff balanced. Like, it's always like the woman is the villain.
Nah.
Hold on.
I'm not saying. The woman is the one making that video. The woman is the one making that video. The woman is the one chastising the man who's bringing food for his child. The woman is the one that's saying,
yes, ma'am.
Like she is the one instigating and initiating that situation. The man just shows up, he brings food. So in this scenario, it's not it's an even thing. No. I'm saying
this isn't the first time he did it. On the video, she says that he keeps doing it. So she may have already spoken to him about it.
Sophie.
He
Let me ask
keeps
you
bringing
something.
food to his
Oh,
kid.
dang.
We ain't even acknowledging the man for providing for his child.
Come on,
And
Sophie.
nobody's talking to you. Like you're not even looking at it. You're saying it's biased, but like
Yes,
look at
he's
your bias.
bringing food, but she probably already spoke to him about that, about the way he's doing it. And
Wait.
he's probably like, because she does say he keeps doing this, so I'm gonna confront him now. So
Okay, well, what he's doing is not
sometimes
wrong.
people don't react ideally, but that doesn't mean that they're like the bad portion of the situation, like overall.
So let me ask you something.
Right.
I'm gonna reverse this. I heard it somewhere else too. So say you were in that situation. You are the woman with the you're the guy, right? And you go into your woman's but you're a girl though. All right? Come on. All right. I'm trying to get the story right. Come on. All right. Say you were supposed to, like when you came to hug you because you're a woman, so you care, you nurture. So you hugging and you kissing your daughter, right? And then say, oh, you can't just hug your daughter and kiss your daughter and show your daughter affection. You got to show all these kids affection and kisses and hugs too. So what was I saying about you? Would you do that? Would you feel obligated to do that?
If somebody said that and it's my ex and we're not together, and he says, you come over here and hug your babies and never hug my babies, I would hug his babies. That's not a big deal for me. But I wouldn't be in that situation about the food, because I would come pick my kids up and go with my kids somewhere else. I would not come to their house and bring stuff for my kids when I got my own house and I could take my kids to my house. I would never do that.
I mean, that's not what happened in the situation. I'm saying, like, in the same situation, you always, every time you come to see your kid,
Hold on, Hammer. This is the situation. You go to your man's house. He's got your daughter and 3 of his other daughters. You come to braid her hair. He says, don't just come and braid her hair. You got to braid everybody else's hair too.
You going to do that?
Again, I have my own house. I would never stay at my ex's house and do something with my kids. I would go get my kids. First of all, I wouldn't even be the 30-minute mom. I would be, if we're sharing custody.
Sophie, hold on. Sophie.
For the amount of days that they're going to be there, and then bring them back. I wouldn't be like a 30-minute mom. Like, I'm going to come over to your house and do something for the kids.
Sophie.
Like, who does that? That's weird.
Sophie,
that's
hold
weird.
on.
Come on, y'all are like this is not.
Sophie, stay within the scenario that you're presenting.
He's not staying in the scenario. He's talking about hugs. The other one's talking about braids.
Yeah,
because can we provide?
Stay in the scenario.
Sophie, we provide different. Listen, men and women provide different.
What the heck?
Men are supposed to protect and provide. Correct. Man, protect, provide, and provisions and resources, right? Women, they nurture, they care, affectionate. We do different. We do that.
If the houses are divided, the mother at some point has to provide, has to protect, has to nurture.
We are not,
and the father at some point has to provide, has to protect, has to nurture. They're in 2 different households. Y'all ain't got share. Y'all can't divide stuff up like that no more. Y'all not together
100%. Let me. I'm gonna go to bat for Sophie here.
Sophie needs some. I was about to say Sophie need anybody that's in the comments.
I'm gonna go to bat for Sophie because
I know I'm speaking clearly.
Make sure
I feel you. Here's what happened is that Collins, you had made a comment about and this kind of like veered us off a little bit because you had made a comment about, if she would have had that perspective for before, she probably would never even be in this situation because she would have been the type of person to have dialogue before, to have like a healthy relationship before, so she wouldn't be in the situation that she's in now. But there is something to be said about the dude who knows that his kid will be living in this house with all these other kids looking at him funny. And he's like, my kid, I'm going to get my kid this McDonald's. He's going to be in that corner eating his nuggets, like looking over his shoulder. I don't want my kid to be in that kind of uncomfortable situation. I want my kid to be raised as in a healthy environment as possible. I mean, I know what the best would be, but in his predicament, the best possible, or at least to have a nice and cozy and comfortable environment to enjoy that McDonald's. And that environment would be if everybody's enjoying McDonald's at the house. That environment would be if he took the kid out for lunch or something like that. That environment would be like that, right? But he didn't do that. He came and brought the food to that crib. Now, that action alone has to get you in the mindset of what kind of dude will do that and put their kid and they seed in that situation. Now that the mom's going to be hostile and looking at him funny, the other kid's going to be hostile, looking at his kid funny, and now he's just going to drop the food off and bounce. So already that dude or his decision making is already not a superior thinker. He's already not a superior thinker.
Absolutely not. These are probably two unbreedables, is what I call them. They shouldn't have bred in the first place.
Okay, but we can't. Okay, but we can't just like put the lumps on the woman for doing all what she did when she went nuclear.
So I got a question, Darwin. Question. So say that dude had his kid with her, and then he had 6 other kids. So he's supposed to provide for his 6 other kids, and then on top of that, 3 other kids that ain't his. So he's buying not.
But it's not about that. It's not about providing food. It's not about providing food. It's about raising a child.
I understand, but if you got,
it's about raising a child, and you want that child to be raised in a particular environment, and you got to do those things to make that dynamic.
Does he have the resources to do all that though? That wasn't.
You got the resources to have 6 kids.
Okay, so he's supposed to buy 3 other kids.
If you got the resources to have 6 kids, you got resources for that.
Look at Andrew.
Yeah,
when this happened though, so I don't know. This statement doesn't make any sense.
Oh man! Look, man, hey, look. Here's the funny thing, right? The funny thing is, regardless of what we're saying, right? Everybody gonna do what they want to do, and it's fun to have these conversations. That's what I'm really happy that we having these conversations, and we can show the people that y'all can have these conversations and have differences of opinion. And still love each other like you do in your family when you're at the cookout. You know what I'm saying? So that's great. And everybody has their own perspectives and stuff like that. I would just say, and we can start to wrap it up because I know Jamare has like a time constraint. We want to make sure we give the people, digestible material. Is people just be more aware, and more picky with who you lay down with, because once you lay down with them, you could the inevitability is you have a extensive probability that just goes up and up and up every time you have sex with somebody, and you could have a baby with them, and then you would put yourself in these situations with either A, you got a Roe V Wade situation,
you invite it.
B, you gotta now raise a child with the person that you might not have all of those characteristics that will make that a great scenario. Which are you guys spiritually aligned? Are you mentally aligned? Are you physically aligned? Are you fiscally, like financially aligned? Like, do you guys have the same perspective socially? And do that before. Now that's a lot harder when you just out in the club and you meet somebody and you go back, or you do a couple dates and stuff like that. Or you spend even a couple months with somebody. Like the courting process, you might want to take more time doing that and ask those really hard questions before you actually lay down. And yes, that will minimize the chances that you have to have sex with whomever. Right? It'll minimize it because you'll get to the point where like, okay, do you believe in God? That should be talked about in the very beginning. Are you polyamorous? Are you monogamous? Are you bendable? Because if I'm this way and you're that way, when we have sex, it's not going to change that. So now we're going to be bringing up a child or having a child in a scenario where we got a divided house. So you don't really want to have that situation. And what you got to do in order to do that is change your courting process, extend that bit. And be more selective, and then you won't have, so many of these situations happen. It's not that it'll never happen because you got, husband and wife, and they both don't want to have kids for whatever reason, right? And they might want an abortion, or they might have a kid and then split later. But I would say that's one of the solutions y'all as individuals can do. But
that's all hindsight. It ain't a solution if the babies is already there. The babies is already there. What you gonna do now? That's the question.
Yeah, you gotta
go to counseling, man.
That's what Collins and Darwin always tells me. It's therapy, counseling. You need that. Hamilton, any last words before we wrap everything up? And you can do an outro too at the same time.
Sophie hate me. I feel daggers from Sophie right now.
Giving you mad daggers, Hamilton.
Don't do that.
No, I'm
This boy said, and I quote, single women are recreational, single mothers are recreational.
Right. Like, how did he start his whole
Anyway,
section with that?
so
like, we don't deserve to have
Shamari,
love and somebody court us.
I didn't say see what you started.
Somebody cancel Hamilton.
Hamilton, how you got canceled on your second day? If Collins and I haven't been canceled yet, how did you get canceled already?
Hey, it's part of cancel culture. Good show, man. Love being on the show. Like I said, check out my music. Yeah.
Everything's gonna be in the description, by the way.
Everything,
guys.
He got a song coming out. Single mothers are recreational. Go check that out on Spotify.
Check that out. Don't wife the baby mama.
Hey, don't play me. I might actually do it.
Don't do that, Hamilton.
And then we got, and then after that, you go to the play that Sophie has just written called "Ends Ain't Shit." You know what I'm saying? Cancel Ham.
All right, go ahead, Darwin. Outro, baby.
Okay, so you can find me again I'm on Twitter. My personal account's Darwin_Darko. You can find the podcast that I host once a month. It's called The Ekphrastic. It's at The Ekphrastic on all your socials. Like and follow. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Pierre.
Yeah,
Dr. Pierre. Let me get it right. Let me get it right. Dr. Pierre.
I earned that. Look.
Yeah.
See, I earned that right there. I earned that.
Dr.
You know,
Pierre.
I really did. You know, funny enough. Anyway, I'm not gonna go there. So check this out. I think that as a community, and just people in general, we have a lot of work to do. I think we need to love our neighbors like we love ourselves, right? The things that you wouldn't want done to you, you shouldn't do it to others. Mm-hmm. We have a long way to go. Yeah. Because the more and more, and again, it could have been a skit. The more and more you look on social media, things are getting worse. At least from what I'm seeing. I think if we show one another more love, right, we'll get further in this world. I don't know where the love in this world went to. But I look forward to the next show. If I have time, I'm really busy. Sometimes I'll join. Right, Jamare, you're doing a great job. You know,
appreciate you.
The community needs this, right? And everyone brings a unique perspective. Hamilton, I'm gonna say this. My uncle told me when I was young. He said, and this is backing you up, by the way. He said, never get married or date a woman that has kids. So I never did it. And that's, by the way, that's all he does, by the way. To this day, he's in his mid-50s, still doing it. You know? But he told me not to do it.
Let me touch on that. We're talking about from a moral point of view, Dr. Pierre, yes. He should have paid for the kids. From a moral, a spiritual point of view, you can say that, yes, definitely. But from a biological point of view, no. That I'm not his kids. No. It's stupid. It's
you know what? Hey, like Andrew said in a comment that I didn't post, but he said, "We know what lions do when they take over a pride.
They kill the baby." So it's not like from a biological point of view.
They don't kill the babies because they just feel like killing the babies.
No, it's
because they're trying to get the mom ready to have
you're taking part of their research and you ain't mine. Like from a biological point of view, it just not like you. It just don't work. But yes,
we're not lions.
Yeah, from a moral,
we can actually manipulate.
That's what I said. From a moral, spiritual point of view,
yes,
definitely.
From a moral and community aspect. Sophie, Sophie, we're gonna get some more girls on this panel for you. I promise you, we're gonna get some more women on this panel.
I tried, Sophie.
Sophie, I don't like to see you getting beat up. Like I don't. That's why, Sophie. You see, that's why I took the back seat. You know, and they still trying to fight you. So
it's crazy that I deal in logic more than y'all. Y'all like to think that women don't deal in logic.
Nah, you know what? We ain't gonna go there.
Don't go there because I know I'm right. You don't have to. But I was going to say, yeah, right on, Dr. Pierre. Then he shared the theology of his uncle. Okay. No. So okay.
You almost had a fan. You almost had a fan.
Almost had a fan.
Hey, look,
Okay, so
Hey, he was with you on the community thing, though. He said,
I'm
yeah,
still
I
with
was
you.
with
I'm just
him
telling
on
you
the
what I was
community
doing.
thing.
You know?
Okay, so you know, I'm just gonna stay on the community thing because this was a complex show. Okay, this was a complex show, so I don't even know how to bring it all together. But ideally, you know, if we could look out for ourselves and be very happy, that would be great. But really, in reality, you cannot. If you are not taking care of the people around you, eventually you are going to be in a world that you don't like. So community is important. The kid who doesn't have a dad bringing him any French fries is important. The way he feels when he sees your kid eating those fries, he is important. His feelings are important. And I'm not saying that this dad, who probably couldn't afford to get a meal for everybody, is wrong for getting a meal for his kid. I am only saying that he had other options. The mom had other options. She didn't have to take out her phone and record him. She didn't have to curse him out. She could have just let his the way he deals with his morale deal with him and just leave it at that. But you know, as long as we're all like about ourselves and like, you know, there's no obligation needed here. If we're not teaching each other to do better, which is okay to teach each other to do better. We don't always have to pussyfoot around each other and say, oh, well, you know what? They're not your biological kids. Sometimes we can be tough on each other and say, hey, man, that ain't cool. It's other kids in that household. It's okay for us to be that side of the community, that side of brotherhood, that side of sisterhood. Because somebody already said this. Both of them looked a hot mess. The mama looked a hot mess. The daddy looked a hot mess from other perspectives. So nobody was really technically, you know, right in this situation. But I feel like for us as outsiders and you guys, you guests out there, it's okay for us to be the voice that says, you know, that's not how we treat each other. Okay, because in the long run, it's not only going to be about you. When you wake up one morning and you don't have a sense of community and you ain't helping the people around you, you're going to feel that. So that's what I will leave us on tonight. Practice community. Okay. And Sophia Lawwoods on all social media outlets. That's it.
All right. And yeah, if you guys want to start building communities and things like that, Jamare and I and whoever else would like to join in as well, we're actually going to be doing an international retreat where we're going to be doing fun adventures and things like that, but also working with the economic family. And that's what Jamare is going to be taking the reins over. And I'm going to be doing counseling for individuals within their relationships, learning how to master their relationships. If you want to be a polyamorous, you want to learn how to master those, you can come to the Polyversity. We also have a woman named Portia Newton who is going to be specifically helping the women deal with their sexuality, and she's a master in her divinity training and things like that. And Princess Fortier, she's also going to be there and helping the women, and men just deal with themselves and like how to do self-care and things like that. If you want to get on that list to possibly be a part of that one of these retreats, whether it's in Mexico, whether it's in Bali, whether it's in Jamaica, Grenada, Indonesia, you can contact us at info@divadiscoveries.com. That's info@divadiscoveries.com. Link's going to be down in the description. And just send an email saying put me on the list. And then when we have the mailing list come out, you guys will have a chance to actually be able to come along and have some cool adventures with us.
Yeah, you breaking up a little bit.
Jamar, you done.
Hey, he was breaking up. I was trying to get him for you. He was breaking up. I couldn't hear him. Yeah, you're breaking up. You
no. I think I heard him fine. I heard him perfectly fine.
Oh, okay, cool. It was on my end. But all right, all that stuff is going to be in the description below. Make sure you subscribe, share this video. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate everybody for coming on, having another great show. I appreciate Dr. Pierre, Darwin for bringing their expertise and their information to the show. I really appreciated you guys. I
don't like how you keep calling me an expert. Somebody finna call me out on something I ain't gonna have the answer to.
I don't care. I don't care what they say. I don't care what they say. My guy's an expert. I don't care what
you did good, Darwin.
That's right. Forget what they say. An expert is somebody who wants to. An expert is somebody who continue wanting to learn.
What about
So I
Miss
don't care what
Sophie?
anybody say.
I'm gonna tell you today. No, I'm just kidding. Everyone did great. Everyone did great.
Definitely, if you are a lady and you want to be on the next show, make sure I'm going to put in the description below. It probably won't be there tonight, but probably be there tomorrow. Our Facebook group where you can join the Facebook group, and we put the link out there for people who want to join in the panel. If not, put in the comments below, because whatever, you got to find me somehow. But we do need more ladies because Sophie is getting beat up. So that's all. She's tough. She's
I
a
ain't
tough
getting
cookie.
beat up. Y'all, ladies, I'm holding it down for y'all. I'm not getting beat
She
up.
holding it down now.
But y'all are definitely welcome to come help me. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Appreciate you guys. To the next one.
Yes, sir.
See ya. Okay.